The Los Angeles Chargers just got a double dose of some NFL draft news. What is it going to be on? Well, we'll discuss that in today's video because I'll tell you right now, the Los Angeles Chargers can really make the 2026 draft a springboard for them into a great 2026 NFL season. If you're ready for the NFL draft to be here, come on in and smash that like button. We're trying to get to 200 likes on today's video. Help us out. One, you love the channel. Two, you love the Los Angeles Chargers. But what's most important is that we beat our goals. We always like to do that here on Chargers Now. Thank you guys so much for hitting that button. Now let's get into today's video. I'm Will Ortner. This is Chargers Now, and ESPN kind of clued us into some major draft intel around the Los Angeles Chargers and what some moves could be made by this team and who they could potentially end up targeting. First, I want to dive into a shocking move, in my personal opinion. And if you are a real one, you've been watching Chargers Now for quite some time, you know that I have a specific target when it comes to pick number 22 for the Chargers if that player is there. Well, according to the latest ESPN article, that is not necessarily a slam dunk for this Chargers team. And I think that that is a crazy decision if the Chargers decide not to go with the player that I personally believe should be a slam dunk, no doubter. Everything that I've heard about this player has been glowing. He's a fantastic offensive lineman. He's a great team leader. He's very athletic, very mobile. He is someone that continues to grow into his craft. So why in the world would Vega Ioane potentially not be a Los Angeles Chargers guy if he is available at pick 22? Now, I understand if the Chargers have to go in a different direction if Ioane ends up getting drafted before LA gets their call, but I don't believe that the Chargers should make a move where they go somewhere else just in case Vega Ioane ends up getting to pick number 22. Now, if Vega Ioane gets picked before pick number 22, well then, of course, go somewhere else or trade back in the draft. But it does sound like from Rhim that the Chargers might move back even if Ioane is still there. It depends on who else is available. Through 2 drafts, GM Joe Ortiz has pretty much stuck to drafting the best player available, even when the Chargers has seemingly filled that need. See Joe Alt over Malik Neighbors, Amari and Hampton over any offensive lineman. In my personal opinion, it would be a mistake if Vega Ioane is there at pick number 22 for this Los Angeles Chargers team to not draft him. There are so many different reasons why. He is a fantastic player on this football playing sphere. He is someone who's doing a fantastic job in college football, and he is someone who's going to fill a gigantic need for this Chargers team. Look at our offensive line depth chart right now. I like our tackles. Rashawn Slater, Joe Alt, really good players. Tyler Biadasz, I believe that he is an above-average starting center in the National Football League. To me, that is someone who you can rely on being successful next year. Where I don't think you can rely on success, it's your guard depth right now. Cole Strange, Trevor Penning. That's not a good enough starting core of your guards to trust that you are going to have a successful season. We saw what the mistake was last year. This Chargers team spent a lot of money on Mekhi Becton, and then we'll piecemeal together the center and the left guard spot. Didn't end up doing good enough. It wasn't enough. So go out and spend the draft capital at pick number 22 on a true blue star. He's the number 1 guard, Ioane is, according to Dane Brugler in his The Beast. This guy is unbelievable, and the sky is the limit for him. He's big, 6'4", 330, strong, physical guard, does a great job in the pass game as well as when it comes to his run blocking. Vega Ioane is the type of player that would have a lot of success not just with the Chargers, but with any team in the National Football League because he's an all-around talent. He is the type of player that you draft and you say, hey, our left guard or our right guard position is good for the next 10 to 12 years. He's the type of player that you just ask him, hey, what do you want to make in your next contract? And you pay him that amount of money. He is a player that is going to be physical in the run game, which is what Coach Harbaugh wants. He is someone that is athletic enough to get outside in the outside zone run game. That's what Coach McDaniel wants. He is someone that has great pop, and he's going to drive people into the ground. When we look at his scouting report, the only negative on him is that he's a bit stiff. Guess what? This is a guy who only gave up 4 pressures. So we're nitpicking at this point. He's a star. He just doesn't play a sexy position. If he was a quarterback, he'd be the number 1 pick in this draft. He was a cornerback, he would be a top 5 pick in this draft. The problem is Ioane plays guard, and that's not a sexy position. That's a position that a lot of teams believe that they can find somewhere else. So when I look at Vega Ioane, here's why he would be the pick no matter what. In fact, if I was the Chargers and I'm general manager Joe Ortiz, the minute that the pick comes in at 22 and you see Ioane's on the board, I would be making that choice at 9:59 if there's 10 minutes in that pick. He's the best player available, in my opinion, and the Chargers need a guard. So not only are you taking the best player available, you're taking a position of need. There is no world, in my opinion, if Vega Ioane is there, that the Chargers should not draft him. Yet it does feel like after this latest ESPN article that he would not be the choice necessarily. That there is a world where the Chargers might say, let's go with an edge rusher or let's go with someone else. Would it be a mistake to not draft Vega Ioane? Let me know down below in the comment section, yes or no, if you agree with me there. Now, the caveat is he does have to be available. There have been multiple mock drafts where he wasn't available. So I understand. Can't take him if he's not there. If he's there, he has to be the choice, in my opinion. The other piece of news that we learned from this ESPN article is that there is a new draft target, potentially, for this Chargers team. Now, we know that edge is a position that they clearly need to go after. You have to replace Odafe Oweh. But I think that the more and more we get into it, there was a thought that, hey, it might be the Penn State edge rusher, maybe one of the 2 Michigan guys. But Matt Miller of ESPN, he says that there might be a new draft target. Sources inside and outside the Chargers scouting staff indicate guard is the team's top need, but they expect them to also use an early pick on an edge rusher with only 5 total picks. Pass rusher Gabe Jacas of Illinois has been identified as an option at pick number 55. So let's dive into everything that's going on from the Illinois edge rusher, and the more that you look at kind of the news around him and his stats, well, he looks a lot more appealing. You're seeing a very high tackle mark. Now, that's important from an edge rusher position, in my personal opinion, in the type of defense that defensive coordinator Kris O'Leary is going to run for the Chargers. You need players in this system, especially on the edge, that set the edge. They do a good job of getting tackles in the run game while also being able to get after the passer. When we look at the Illinois edge rusher, he does a fantastic job of doing both of those things. High pressure rate. Gets a lot of sacks. He's someone who, when players are in his way, he does bring them down. Now, where he has his issues is players do tend to run through some of his tackles. That is why you are seeing that as a weakness on the scouting report and why he has a bunch of tackles and not necessarily a bunch of TFLs. That's an important number there to dive into. But he's a strong, physical edge rusher that does a lot of things really well. And when you run a defense like the Chargers are going to run, you can sometimes scheme open sack opportunities for players. It's why Odafe Oweh got a lot more sacks after he left Baltimore, right? So when I look at the potential to make this choice in the second round, I love this draft pick. I love this news that we're learning from Matt Miller because it means that the Chargers are doing their due diligence at that edge rusher position, and it kind of makes more sense now why in free agency, guys like Cam Jordan or Jadeveon Clowney did not end up getting the call. There's a clear need for an edge rusher, but it also makes sense for this team to make the decision that, hey, we can find an edge rusher in the draft. Thule has obviously had a lot of success, but he needs a counterpart next to him. When I look at Khalil Mack, obviously, Khalil Mack, fantastic edge rusher. He's also very old, and he's also someone that essentially is going year after year at this point, where Khalil Mack, we thought he might retire this year. Didn't end up retiring this year. Well, maybe he'll retire next year. So you have to have a succession plan there for this team. So the more and more that I look at this pick, I think that this is a great opportunity for the Chargers to go and grab a sneaky big-time player. I love everything about this Illinois team, and I know that it's going to bring in players that are built to have success in the National Football League. I think that Gabe would be fantastic with this Chargers team, and I definitely think that the Chargers should at least kick the tires on potentially taking him later on in the second round of the 2026 NFL Draft. If you love the Chargers, make sure you hit the thumbs up button on today's video. We love giving you guys as much content as we possibly can on the channel, covering the draft every single day here on Chargers Now. Don't want to miss out on that. And that is why you subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 3K. We are just outside of that 3K right now. If you come in, you hit that subscribe button, we'll get to 3K. And who knows, maybe we'll get to go live on draft day. Thank you guys so much for viewing today's video. Make sure that you bolt up.